Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Good, Jamie. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Just first have to ask, did you have an update on Jaden and Max's health for the week?
Uh, Jaden's closer. Um, Max, I can't say specifically, but I think he's probably questionable as we move forward into this week. But it's not a could have been a lot worse, is what they're saying, and it's not. So
And then on a more serious health note, do you have an update on the status of Brandon Gray?
all I got that he is continuing to be in stable condition. Um, I know his family's out and spoken with them, and but that's about all I got. I know it's the word I'm getting is stable.
Is the quarterback competition to start this week wide open? Would you say?
Well, I think we haven't had a real clean start to the season at the quarterback position. You got to see who's available and who can go out and do it. So I guess the long answer, that was it. But um, there's probably definitely some competition element to it, like it was last week.
You said after the game that you and the offensive coaches would be taking kind of a hard look at yourselves. What were kind of your conclusions when you did that?
Um, well, I thought we did a good exercise today, watching the game as a whole offense. Um, I think it was time to be real honest with everyone, because I think there were plays to be made, and we didn't make them. And we got to look at what our guys can execute well in a game time situation. And that was kind of the gist of our discussion. I just think we're better than 13 points and 14 points the last two games. And if we're just better than that, and we have more talent than that. And so we have to look at it and see how we can improve it.
And then we saw Brian Green return, but at the left guard spot. Is that going to be something going forward? Is there something you really like about Connor at center right now?
Oh, that Brian, it was obvious. I mean, it was great to get Brian back. Felt Connor was playing well at center. The versatility and a bunch of those guys is helping us and giving guys a few snaps off. But I thought Connor did a good job filling in for Brian, and getting Brian back in the groove at a little bit slower pace was probably a smart move for his long-term health this season.
Thanks, Coach.
Welcome.
All right, Coach, the next question is going to be Colton Clark, spokesman review. Go ahead, Colton.
Hey, Coach, could you give us an assessment just overall of Jarrett's play, things he did well and things not so much on Saturday?
Well, there's some things he definitely could have done better. Stood in there and throw some balls down the field. And I mean, some of those dig routes and some of those sit downs, I think, were positive. I think we missed a few things on the front side of reads, and, you know, the tip screen interception, that's, I don't put that one on him. I think the first one, he wish he would have had over. But I think we got to play better at the quarterback position.
You said you needed some time to watch film to gauge the offensive line's play. Any takeaways there?
Well, I knew that with the number of sacks that they would catch the brunt of the heat, and I don't think that was fair. I think there were some opportunities for us to get the ball out that wouldn't have put the O-line in that position. Now, credit to Utah in the front seven. You know, they made some plays and brought some tough blitzes at times, but there's definitely improvement that could be made at the offensive line, but I can't put all of those sacks on them.
And it seems Max was having a real good start, around 50 yards in the first quarter. To what extent did his absence kind of, flip your game plan a little bit?
Not flipping of the game plan at all. I was excited because I think he came in with a great mindset. I thought he was running hard. We were moving the ball, and Dion's a real physical runner too. But I saw another level in Max as far as how he was running the ball. And I feel bad for him, but I'm glad it's not terribly serious.
Do you have any updates on Haleed, Jabril, and Armani Archie?
Armani Archie's going to be out for a while. Haleed's on his way back, but I can't be specific on that one at this point.
Okay. And then just on Cal, can you talk about their kind of key strengths and what does it seem that Wilcox preaches within that team?
Well, the quarterback's playing really well. They're taking their shots down the field. I think they got a strong receiving core, but it all goes through the quarterback. Defensively, he's a defensive coach. I like him. They've got some length on the edges. Some veterans, especially with, I don't want to, Elijah Hicks has played a lot of football for him back there. But interesting that the D tackle, had kind of grad transfer out and came back and playing another year. I think he shows up on film 93. But yeah, I think they've really improved offensively. And maybe they were, I think they're playing at a high level offensively, but more than I remember in preparation for them last year.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Coach, next question is going to be Brenna Green, Spokane TV. Go ahead, Brenna.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Brenna.
I just was curious if you knew if Brandon Gray was still in serious condition or if that has been upgraded at least, because I know you said stable, but you also said it was still serious on Saturday.
Well, I think it's anytime. I wouldn't call the whatever I said as far as serious. I mean, that's the medical description I got was stable. It's a scary situation. Anytime something like that happens, I'm sorry if it was taken where I had information where he was in serious condition. That's not what I meant. All I had heard since after the game was he was in stable condition.
And just, we didn't really get to ask you a lot of questions about that.
I know, but that's why I came back, because I figured it was going to come up, and I'd rather it was kind of simultaneously coming out, and I wanted to address it and not have the kids have to be the first ones to address it. But what questions do you have?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally, completely understood. I just was wondering, first of all, how did you find out about it?
Teammate of his called me at, it was 2:30 something, 2:40 something in the morning. That was how I first found out that something had happened.
Is that kind of a situation where you end up kind of staying up all night then, or how did you handle that?
Yeah, that's one of those situations. Those are not the phone calls you want to get. Tried to alert everyone who needed to know. It was a long night. It was a long night.
What was just your initial reaction to finding that out?
We had no details. And, you hear something like there was a shooting, your mind goes to what the most negative and what could happen and what do you know, and nobody knew anything at that point. They just knew there was an incident, and you go for Brandon and his health. You go for how do you address this with the team with an early game and right before pregame meal when we meet. So yeah, there's a lot that goes through your mind. When, can we get in touch with his family? Are we the ones to let him know? So there was a ton to process.
And just you mentioned delivering it to the team. Just what did you speak about when you talked about it to the team in the morning? Just what did you say to them?
Told them what I knew. Told them that, there had been an incident. I wasn't even sure where it was. I knew it was pretty close to campus. There was a shooting, and Brandon was one of the victims, and at that point he was, in the hospital. I think he had gotten to Spokane by that point, and we had great communication from our medical people and the medical people up there. And there was a lot of emotion. That's just a hard thing to hear on the morning of a game when, I thought we were in a really good mindset to play. The most impressive thing is how hard our guys played till the very end with that in the back of their mind. I would have not necessarily expected, but if we, if it had affected our team more than that, I wouldn't have. I couldn't be mad at them, but for them, we talked about playing inspired football for BG, and they, of course, it could have gone better and it could have been better, but I think we took a step forward. I know it's a loss, and I know that may make people mad, but I think the fight till the very end, the fight on the goal line to get that last fumble to keep us in the game, where there's just opportunities we have to take advantage of in this league, and we didn't do that enough.
This is the third major tragedy some of these guys have been through.
Yeah.
This game. Just you weren't here for the first one, obviously, but just what has it been like watching your team, continually have to go through this?
Well, it's not easy. It's not how you would want it to be, but there is a lot of strength and maturity in the older guys who have been through some of these, and I think they were more than a solid resource for some of the young guys and some of the people who are struggling with it. I think they took it upon themselves to not only grieve or have concerns or their own emotions, but I think they were there for each other, especially the guys who are young and new to the program. So it's no, it's not easy. It's you don't wish it on anybody, and it's hard. It's very hard.
Sorry, just one more question for me. Sorry if you heard my cat meowing there. Yep. All right. So you see after the game that then Utah player gets shot and killed. Just what was kind of your reaction to that as well after everything you guys have been through?
Well, I text Whit, tell him that we were thinking about him, praying for him. A couple of staff members that I know, and you don't wish that on anybody. This game is hard enough. This job is hard enough. This what these young men are trying to do is hard enough, and to add something so tragic, and they've had a couple here now, and the main focus needs to be on the kids and dealing with it, and how can we help, and how can we get them any type of counseling or any resources, because it's a heavy thing for a young person. And so a little extra goes on to the position coaches. I do think one thing that we did after we met as a team is the position coaches took their group and handled that group setting, the best way they thought possible, give guys an opportunity to get some emotions out, kind of spread out through the hotel and the meeting rooms. And it's just something you don't wish on anyone. And like I said, especially what the young men of this program, young men in other programs, they sacrifice so much for a game they love and for the opportunity and the education that this really can be a hard thing to deal with. But I was thoroughly, extremely proud of our team and the way they played with that on their minds. I think that's, I get we didn't win the game, but how they approached it and how they did it and the effort they put forth, what I think people saw is commendable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, again, if you have a question for Coach Nick Rolovich, please raise your hand and we'll call on you. So if you have a question for Nick Rolovich, please raise your hand. Coach, another question, Jamie Vinnick from Kook Fan. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hey, Coach, I just forgot to ask this earlier, but we've seen Antonio Pule at the starting defensive tackle over the 3 games rather than Amir Crowder. Is it just something that you like more of Antonio out of practice right now?
I think Antonio's being real productive in games too. A big jump from when he first got here. I think a heavy commitment on his part. I think he's in JC guys. It's hard. A lot of people recruit JC guys because you need immediate help, but just because they went to JC doesn't mean they're always quite ready. So I think last year was a good learning experience for him, ability to grow in his skill set, and he's showing up in games much more than he did last year. So that's credit to him and Coach Rick and Pule, buying into the scheme, and not that he wasn't before, but I think he's just more comfortable with it. And some things are just happening more second nature or instinctual now compared to a year ago.
And just how, in contrast or in comparison, has Amir looked both in practice and games too? Amir Crowder, that is.
Still got love for Amir and what he's done. He's still getting his reps in there. You need to have multiple D tackles. I wish we had more that were ready to contribute and help. But you can only play 2 at a time in our scheme. It's always a competition. Who's getting better? Who's going to give us the best chance to win?
This is probably a maybe even rhetorical question, but this Saturday would be the 5th game for Andrew Edson, Deshaun Stribling, Nick Haber, which would prevent them from redshirting. I assume there's no plans to change that status for them.
Who was the 3 of them? You said Edson, Haber,
and Stribling.
I would think they would continue to play. I don't think we're at a point where they're contributing at a high level. That's why they came here, and I see them continuing to play.
And just kind of in that same topic, I think there's been 3 games.
How many want to go? Come on, who else? Who else you want to know about? Come on.
Francisco Maingo is the other one. I think I have him at 3 games. That could be wrong. Do you have an idea for him yet, or is that kind of playing it by ear?
A little bit by ear, but he's really being a huge contributor on special teams, and I know he's coming along at linebacker, and his future is really bright. He's a pretty major contributor on our team right now.